Hello, friends. How are you today? Hope you're doing great. Happy Tuesday. My name is Kellen Ann, and I am the host of Ignite Your Wow. If you are new to this, I have every Tuesday, I go live and speak to somebody who has inspired me and has made me go, wow. If you like this, please be inspired to hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends. I have two sponsors today, the first being Blue Sky Video Productions. Blue Sky Video Productions is my main man, Bruce Himmelblau. He is a YouTube strategist. He is a live stream producer. He produces this show. He gives me some semblance of professionalism. He's completely professional, but he helps me. He's elevating me. And today I'm going to see what tip he has. I forgot to ask him earlier, though. Do you have a tip?
I always have a tip.
Okay.
Tip is do not be afraid to hit that go live button. There are plenty of platforms out today, this being one of them, but also StreamYard, which is who we're streaming this with. But Clubhouse is a great platform, and Twitter Spaces is brand new. So those platforms are audio only. If you have not gotten involved with those, check it out. And again, do not be afraid of hit that go live button.
Thanks, Bruce. And our second sponsor is Cards That Wow. Cards That Wow is my business. And if I could tell you, you could give a client gift that would make that person think of you every single day. And if you want to know how to do that, be sure to give me a call. Today's guest is Christopher Rausch. He is a new friend, but I feel like we've known each other like forever. He's a kick-ass coach. I've actually, in the short time that I've known him, I've learned a lot, and he makes me go, wow. So stand by, and we're going to bring him in. Christopher!
Oh, there I am. Good morning, Kellen. How are you?
Oh, I'm fabulous since you're here.
Well, let's rock and roll, baby.
Okay, so I have not known you long, but I feel like we're kindred spirits or something. I just feel like we know each other. We have the same core values and things and you're funny as hell. I love that about you.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I was afraid to ask you to be on my show.
You were.
Because you have superstar value in my eyes. But then I realized I watched the one show that resonated with you was the one that you interviewed the guy who had been he had been wrongly imprisoned for 25 years.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy Dennis.
And I actually commented. I mean, I just stalk people. I don't engage. But I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that one. That's when I thought I have to get to know him because he's an amazing person. So I just wanted to share that with my audience because that was oh man, I bet that was a hard interview.
Yeah, that was really a blessing interview. And thank you for that, Kellen. I really appreciate it. It was probably one of the highlight interviews I've ever done in my life in really just exploring, what it felt like to be a guy that was wrongly convicted based on the color of his skin. And sent to death row for 25 plus years for a crime he did not commit. And to have somebody reach out to me and say, Chris, he doesn't do very many interviews, but I think he'd be great for your show or your shows, because I have 3. And to be bestowed that honor and that respect. When I contacted Jimmy, I was like, hey man, I really appreciate this, wherever you want to go with it. And he's like, no, he goes, Patricia tells me you're fine and everything. So yeah, it was a really great experience. It was really sad to listen to him talk about, how he had to fight every single day just to keep positive. I mean, can you imagine 25 years of like, you ran a stop sign in Korea and you didn't even know. And then you were in jail for 25 years. And you're like, I didn't know not to run a stop sign. I didn't know. And you weren't even there. You didn't even run the stop sign. So, but anyways, Thank you. No, I'm blessed to know you, and I'm never one of those people that's superstar quality. I mean, I'm superstar quality, but I love all people. So thank you for having me on your show. I'm excited.
Yay. So okay, you have 3 shows. Let's give a little synopsis of each show.
So a little synopsis. What's up, Randy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Randy is awesome, awesome gent. So the first show is called Raw and Unscripted with Christopher Rausch. That's a show that I created, January 2019, 2 days before I was going in for back surgery, major back surgery. I'm like, let me start a video podcast right before I go in for major back surgery, because I wanted to take my people through my crew through that process of how you go through that, how you really truly become unstoppable. So that one's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's just usually me and a guest on there, just riffing for about 45 minutes to an hour of what we could do to become unstoppable, raw and unscripted. So it's no filters. And then on Friday nights, it's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have the Unfiltered Experience with my friend, my buddy, Scott Goyette, which you saw Jimmy Dennis on. And that we do, that is more conversational style. That is more definitely interview style with people on there, ranging in topics from music to Black Lives Matter to sex trafficking to how to juggle naked in the beach. It's all sorts of different subjects right there. And then my last one is every other week, and that's what I do with Pamela Aubrey, of course, with Rainbows in Real Life. So she's, of course, the rainbows, and I'm the real life, and we have a blast doing that and talking to organizations around the world that are really making efforts to make the world a better place.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So before you became the Unfiltered Badass Coach, what did you do before that?
My previous life. What's up, Michelle, Phil? Hey, good morning. Good morning, Jay. So before that, I was I can't remember what kind of language we have on our show here. Is it
whatever?
It's clean. It's clean language. Okay. So I was I was a corporate whore. No, I'm just kidding. It's unfiltered. Ooh, I like that. Watch out, baby.
For you today.
No, I've actually become more filtered. It's crazy. In a sense. No, I was my whole life was spent in business. I was always really eager to be in business. So I spent at least over 26 years in the corporate field as an operations manager, operations director for an international company, traveled all over the world and had a great time. It was definitely in my zone of excellence. What's up, Teresa? Good morning. It was definitely in my zone of excellence and leadership. My master's degree is in organizational management. But at the same time, it wasn't my zone of genius. So that's when I just decided to get out of the corporate world and do what I absolutely love to do.
And how did you make that switch? Because it takes a lot of guts to leave the corporate world, and right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of guts. I was actually, in God's honest truth, I was asked to leave. I came in.
That made it easy.
So you know what? Sometimes God just has a way, or the universe has a way of going, okay, you're ready. I knew it was coming. I really did. And I was surprised at the way it was handled. I was not surprised that it happened. So it was kind of a mutual agreement, shall we say, for like the last 4 or 5 years, that if we ever got into a situation where we needed to streamline, we needed to downsize with technology, we knew that with the orders that we were shipping out were going to be digital. So we knew the writing on the wall. I knew the writing on the wall. I'm a strategic planning expert. So I said, okay, listen. And I went to the people that I trusted at that time and said, hey, listen, if we ever get to a point, please let me know. And then we can downsize this effectively. I'll make the jump, go do my coaching and my speaking, everything. And then we'll just have a transition period. We'll make sure that whoever we hand my responsibilities off to, I was very professional about it. Because my whole goal was that I would leave there and they would say, hey, Chris, you did a great job. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Sadly, that wasn't the situation. I walked in on, what was it, November? I'm starting to forget the date now, which is good. It was November 7th, I think, of 2019. Yeah. And walked in and it was like, hey, come upstairs. And they had me sign some papers. And I was like, I'm free to do what I want any old time. And I went home and I went through God's honest truth. I went through a bit of an identity crash after spending 26 years doing one thing, being this person for all these people. And then just kind of like, okay, nobody needs me. Nobody's calling me. What's going on? Going through that phase. And then just sitting there saying, okay, I could go back to corporate, make a lot of money, be very successful at it. It is my zone of excellence. I could do it with my eyes closed, still do my coaching and speaking, everything else. But I just looked at it, I'm like, geez, I'm 50 years old. If not now, then when? Which is a question I give my coaching clients to ask, and talk to my wife. And I was like, let's do it. And so been doing it ever since. And I will not go back to corporate. No, thank you. I'll be a consultant for corporate because I missed that aspect of it. But no, not back to corporate. No.
So that would what you just exemplified is the importance of your partner being on board with you, and to have that kind of support. I'm sure it made a transition a lot easier.
Yes. I mean, we were both fiercely independent people. So there is a little bit of, I should say, business going on, behind the scenes as far as, who's going to take care of what and how is this going to work financially and how much time. So it was a little bit of a business transaction in a way. But again, the support that she knows how successful I am already at it. So having the ability to focus all the time on it, which is magnificent. And then March 20th of last year, they went boom and everything changed a little bit, but it's all been amazing.
Yeah. So speaking of March 20th, I couldn't remember the exact date.
Oh, I do.
I imagine I was kind of oblivious to it because I always worked from home. I worked remotely, and then I would go to the city twice a week and visit clients and stuff like that. But my experience was that it actually helped my career because I could do way more calls in one day, and I could talk to more people, get my numbers up, but it didn't ignite my wow. That's when that was the time that I took some time to, soul search and, what do I want to do? How can I impact the world? How can I be the best Kellen that I can be for everybody? So, so that's a long way of saying, okay, so you were speaking, that probably drastically changed, or did you just, completely convert to virtual?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yes, it was, that's the exciting part because I really love speaking. Obviously I talk a lot, to be able to go out on stage and travel and do all that stuff. That was one of the big components I was excited about for my entrepreneurialism, if you will. And then when that came about, it was like, okay, we got to pivot, we got to shift, and that's what I always teach people in life. That's how I am where I'm at today, is because I've constantly pivoted. It's like, okay, that didn't work. What do I need to do here? How do I need to learn that? What do I need to do? Okay, I'm going to take the first step, and just started really getting into doing more stuff live. I mean, as part of COVID, Ken Walls, my buddy Glenn Morshower. It was literally a crazy thing. I'd seen Glenn the year before at an event, and we had reconnected. And I've known Glenn since 2010, I think, 2013. And then I hadn't seen him. We were talking about connecting and doing all these things. And then I get a Facebook message from him, and it's this link. And I'm like, there's nothing with it. I haven't talked to him in months. I'm like, well, if Glenn sends a link, then I click the link. And I clicked the link. And I went boom, and I showed up right into a Zoom clubhouse with Joe Ingram and Bill Banashek. And I'm like, it was like literally barging in somebody's bedroom, but it was two guys and they weren't doing anything. But it was just like
they had their clothes on.
And they both look at me like, who are you? And why did you how did you get into our room? Who are you? And I said, hi guys, I'm Christopher Rausch. I said, Glenn Morshower just sent me a link. And they're like, oh, okay, we're going to be doing this thing. We're going to go live, and we're just going to, it was, I think it was Friday night. And we said, we're just going to go and just entertain people and talk to people and keep them elevated. And we went on, and I think we were on there for like 4 or 5 hours. People were chiming in. It was the first day. It was like really the first part of the lockdown. So we became Friday Night Live in a sense, to keep people inspired. And from that point, realizing that in front of the camera, you can still connect with a lot of people, I started doing my walk and talk videos every day, go take my dog for a walk and do those and upload them to YouTube and everything. So keep people inspired. And that's when I started the other show, the Friday night show. When Ken and Glenn started their show, I was like, all right, cool. Well, I love doing this. So we started a different aspect of that and became the Unfiltered experience.
That is so awesome. There's Lynn. Hey, Lynn.
What's up, Lynn? Hey, Wes. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. You guys can ask me anything. So over there in the chat. If you have
questions, be sure to put them in the comments, and we will be sure to, well, I'm in charge, but.
You're in charge. I know it's crazy. I use StreamYard and I have no controls. This is weird. I love it.
Isn't it nice for a change?
Yes, it is.
You have to show up and put your makeup on. And that's why I love Clubhouse, because I can be a hot mess and nobody knows it. Because I still sound the same when I'm a hot mess.
Sometimes I wonder, I just sit there and think about people, like, if people could see me now, just because I'm just a weird thinker and all that stuff. But yeah, Clubhouse, no, that's amazing as well. That's where we met. I know. Well,
I knew of you, but like I said, I was afraid of you.
You knew of me before Clubhouse?
Yeah, I'm from Facebook. We didn't know each other. I stalked you long before this.
Oh, okay. So tell me about the stalking thing,
Well, I tend to get my best interviews stalking. Well, no, it's the equivalent of getting, like, on LinkedIn, when you want to connect with somebody, you don't just send them a pitch. You research them, you get to know them, you try to engage with something that they, but then when I saw you on Clubhouse, not really, I heard you on Clubhouse. That's when I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the real deal, and I need to connect.
Yes. So I'm so glad you did. Thank you.
Me too.
it's just, I mean, it's just like your producer was saying, you just press go, just go, ask the person, ask the girl in the bar, ask the guy, ask for the raise, ask for things. So many people are just like, I don't want to ask because I don't want to get told no. You get told no, then you know the answer, and then you move on to the next person you can ask.
Well, that was a major shift, and Clubhouse has made it a lot easier to connect with people. And part of my first question is before Clubhouse, the pandemic. You've probably met more new people during the pandemic than you would have normally, correct?
Oh, 1,000%. Absolutely. It's been amazing.
And do you agree with me in saying that there are more authentic connections? They're like people that I called friends way quicker than I ever did before. So explain your feelings on, the authentic, the friendships, and, are they real? Are they unfiltered? Or, what is your experience?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. No, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. It feels like the connections are there faster. It also, because you could pretty much tell, I personally, it's one of my gifts is I can pretty much tell whether or not I'm going to connect with somebody really quick. Even virtually, even over a message, like on a LinkedIn message, I could tell by the way the person types, if I have a few interactions with them, whether or not it's going to click or not. So in that respect, it's like you can find out faster whether or not something's going to be, a reason, season, or a lifetime type of relationship. When you meet a vendor, you kind of have to be friends with that vendor for a long time. But virtually, you don't have, if you don't really connect with somebody, you don't have to continue to do that. But I think in this space with COVID really resetting a lot of our buttons, if you will, some of us have had our buttons reset, like you and myself. Some people have had them reset and not do anything. But, to your point, I think there's a lot more desire for realism. I think people are ready for the truth. People dig me now more than ever because I'm just being real, raw. I'm not being obnoxious. I'm not being an asshole. I'm just being me, talk like I talk, being from the corporate world and being intelligent. I'm just being me. And I think so many people are starting to do that. And as you do that, then you connect with the right people. And I think there's, of course, like on Clubhouse or anything else, there's the people. I've had Zoom calls where I thought it was going to go great. And immediately they're like, okay, what can you do for me? Literally like within the first 5 minutes. And it's very subtle, but I'm like, okay, this is a pitch. This is something you've rehearsed. This is, okay, you're going in with, subtleties. Tell me about yourself, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and and I'm like, no, thank you. So no, people like yourself. There's been so many, even Scott, I've never met Scott in person, my co-host for Friday nights.
I love Scott.
We feel like we're best brothers. We're going to meet at the end of March. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be kind of weird, but no, just phenomenal people. And it's just, I think it's a great time for connection, especially, and just being ourselves. That's the most important thing. When you're just yourself, you don't have to worry about anything else in life necessarily, about being fake and about, just be you. I'm now to the point, it's taken me many, 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 many years to own all of this and to be comfortable with that, because all my life I've been told, Chris, don't be this, don't be that, be this and fit in this box and do these things. And now that I'm just being me, the right people dig me and some people don't dig me, and that's totally okay. I'm not going to be for everybody. Not everybody's going to be for everybody. And if you find your right crew, you got 7.5 billion people in the world. You only need a little fraction to make you happy.
It could be 1, it could be 20, but I'm more quality than quantity. Yeah. And before I was quantity. I've got 700 Facebook friends. But, yeah, 700 people. They're not necessarily friends. Yep. So let's talk. So when you're coaching, you get somebody who has lost their way. They've maybe been fired. What's the first thing you tell them?
What's the first thing I'm going to tell them?
Like we're having a Zoom coaching call. This is my first time with you. What do you say?
Well, if you're paying me to be your coach, you're going to get there. That's whatever's happening right now. This is not going to stay the same. This is not going to stay the same. I have various coaching clients right now in various stages, and it's just been absolutely amazing. The first thing is that you got this. You got this. No matter what you've been through, no matter what your past says, no matter whatever everybody said about your beliefs. I read this wristband right now that I've had since 2013 from Patricia, who actually gave me the referral to talk to Jimmy. You never know who you're going to meet. You have to believe. You have to believe me personally, that anything that's happened up until this point has happened for you and not to you. So my coaching style is to really reframe our perspectives about our past, about our present, and about our future. We reframe those perspectives, then we have a different meaning that we associate with those situations. So if I sit there and look at all the bad stuff that happened to me for being homeless and digging through garbage cans and all this other stuff, if I sit there and I reframe my perspective to say, oh, geez, God, Kellen, I've had a horrible life and everything's been terrible and I just don't know what to do. And I just feel like life's going to be shitty and terrible and blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's reframe that. So now you've been through all that. What did you learn? What did you take? Tell me about the worst experience and what you learned the most out of. And then I get them to reframe that any mistake they made or any failure they made taught them something to become a stronger person and not to do it again. So I just build on that and say, okay, listen, do you learn from your mistakes? Yes or no, Kellen?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so go make more.
I've heard that a lot this year.
How does that feel?
It's like,
go make more mistakes.
It relieves pressure to be perfect.
Yeah. Where's perfection
I make
from?
mistakes constantly. I'll make a
Good
mistake at the end of this show. So
good. Good. I mean, and it's not even a mistake. If we change our verbiage of that, it's an opportunity. It's, that didn't work. Okay. There's probably 4 more things that I could try. Let me try those. Or we could sit there and go, oh, that was a mistake. Oh, see, I always do that. God, I should never do anything. Oh, I have to go tell that person I made a boo-boo and I don't want to get, in their ill wills or anything else like that. Just go out there and do it.
Yeah.
Be strategic about it, but just go out there and do it and you'll figure it out.
Yeah. So Michelle has a question for you.
Lay it on me. Where is Michelle?
Michelle, any tips on having the strength or courage to be yourself?
Yes. Make sure you're being yourself with your family and your friends. I have found and what's interesting is I'm getting different segments of society that are reaching out for coaching right now. And that's one of them is struggling. How do you be yourself? And I find that people aren't even being themselves with their spouse. They're not being themselves with their kids. They're not being themselves with their friends. I'm like, do you tell your friends the truth when they ask you a question? They say, can you please tell me the truth? Do you tell them the truth? Sometimes. I'm like, okay, why not? Well, I'm afraid of this. I'm like, are you being yourself? Yes or no? No. Okay. So what can you do? How can we change that around? So my advice is to look for opportunities where inside you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to go into this party, or I'm going to go into this dinner. And normally I know that person's going to say this and this person's going to do this. And then I'm going to be quiet and then I'm going to be mad, whatever it might be. Just to pick one aspect of your personality and say, you know what, this is the aspect that I really miss being more of. Like for me personally, I used to joke around all the time. I was a smart ass. I joked around all the time. I pulled chairs out of under people. Not a smart move, by the way. No. Thought it was funny. Was not funny. Learned my lesson. Made a mistake. Learned a lesson. Haven't done it again. See, it was good. So just one aspect of your personality. For me, it was my sense of humor. I stopped being funny. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to start. When I think that something's funny, I'm going to think about it first. I'm going to push it in the clutch if it's going to be something that's going to be stupid, but I'm going to say something and I'm going to enjoy that aspect of my personality. And it took a while, but once I started doing it, I felt better. I felt like, okay, now I don't need to hide the fact that, oh my God, that was so funny. And I could have said something, and some people are going to laugh and some people are going to think it's stupid and some people are going to not do anything, and it's okay. So for me, it's just about finding that opportunity to be yourself. And as you start being yourself, Michelle, if people start critiquing you, like usually what happens, I shouldn't say usually, oftentimes what happens, I choose my words carefully. Often what happens is somebody coaches with me and they've had, they start doing this big shift. And then all their friends and their family go, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And they start to pull them back and hold them down. No, if those people start doing that and saying, what are you doing? That's ridiculous. You stop behaving like that. And you're happy doing that, then you need to find new people. I mean, that is paramount. And so my first exercise to you, Michelle, as your new coach, is to say, okay, super simple. I keep paper around me all the time, I'm always writing things down. So take your paper and write down, take a line down the middle and a line across the top, make a T and say positive, negative, and write down the 5 people you're around the most and write down if they're positive or negative. And if they would support you and they have your back and they'll tell you the truth, then that's positive. If you think they don't tell you the truth or you think that they'd be jealous or bitter or whatever, then negative. And not saying kick them to the curb completely, but in order for us to be successful, we have to be around people that are smarter and brighter than ourselves. And I believe that what we do, and I did this too, is I got to be the smartest person in the room. That's great. That makes me feel good. I'm the smartest person in the room. Even with Clubhouse, sometimes I would sit there, Kellen, I'd be like, oh man, I can answer that question in a second. And then the person would answer it. Then they would go on for another 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, I got to shut up and listen. I need to learn. I'm not the smartest guy in the room anymore. This is neat. Oh my God. So yeah, you got to get around the right people that love you and support you, that say, hey, Chris, you are the kick-ass guy. You're the no excuses guy. Stop being the suit and tie speaker. I was that for a long time, so I could go on and on. But yeah, think about your life. This is our life. This is your life. Why would you want to do it pretending to be something you're not, just to make people like you who are already miserable anyway?
Yes. Love it. Thanks, Wes. Paramount.
Thank you.
So, I've also, you can let me know if you agree with this. If people start, saying stop that, or they're being negative, or they're almost sabotaging, it's them being fearful, not your success. And you need to keep that in mind too, so that okay, I'm on the right path. I know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm doing. And these people just aren't getting it. And a lot of it is fear of you growing away from people. That's what I've noticed.
Big time. And that's happened to me a lot. Personal relationships, friendships. I've had to wish people well. And that's the way I look at it. It's again, life happens, a reason season in our lifetime. And so often that the reason was so cool, like it was a summer and we're trying to keep that summer going, or that friendship going, or whatever it might be. If that door is closing, then there's more doors opening, and it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. People will hold you back and have that. Number one, I've changed my tune about that a little bit. I used to say, see ya, Felicia. But now I encourage people when I'm coaching with them to ask them why, and ask them, kind of dig into that, so that you don't totally just damage the relationship, but you sit there and say, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm excited, and kind of get into the details of that. Would that be something you're interested in? Nah, self-development's never worked for me. All right, then you need to exit from that person immediately. I've had so many self-development never worked for me. Really? Fucking walking didn't work for you either, but you figured it out, didn't you? There's so many stupid people in the world. Sorry, I can go off on a rant on that.
I love you.
Thank you. It's just, I don't know. People are strange, and it's either you're a victim, or you're a victor, or you're a victor in the making. But some people are just victims, and they will always be victims.
Yeah. Changing that mindset. I'm sure you have that with some of your clients. Is that like the biggest thing people have to, the hurdle they have to get over in your experience?
The biggest hurdle they have to get over, yes, is their own mind, their own belief system. And that's something that is conditioned in us as we are 0 to 5 or 0 to 7 years old, depending on what studies you look at. All of our conditioning, our belief systems, our behaviors are usually hardwired by 0 to 5 or 7. So when you think back on our lives, right? How are you at 7 years old? How are you at 5 years old? Did you have the emotional capacity to understand what anger and hatred and whatever other emotion is out there that you have to process? And then we're never really taught how to process them. Oh, get over it. Oh, you'll be fine. Oh, it'll get better tomorrow. We're given these little stupid band-aids, but we're never taught, okay, how do I unpack that? So my job as a coach, somewhat slash therapist in a way, is to go back and sit there and again re-identify what that is and change our belief systems through various different mechanisms. But with me, I've never failed yet. When somebody comes to me, I don't take everybody as a coaching client. That's for damn sure. I used to, but then I found out, if that person doesn't want it and I want it more than they do, and they don't get it, then I feel like shit because I didn't get them to get that. I'm like, well, you took on a girl that wasn't ready to move. So ultimately, people have to be really ready and frustrated, because we do things for two reasons. We do it to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. So when you start stripping life down to simplicity of what it is that we do and why we do it, and we change our mindset about that, then we stop screwing ourselves over. And especially with a coach or an accountability buddy, that's the big thing, is people don't have that accountability. People don't have that person to sit there and say, no, you're going to do it. No, you're going to tell me why you can't do it. Give me 4 solid reasons why you can't get up in the morning and work out. I want solid reasons. I'm not a morning person. Fuck off. I don't care. What's the next one? I don't have workout equipment. Guess what? You can do all sorts of body resistance things. You can go buy a set of bands from Walmart for $5, $10, and start doing your bands. Give me another one. I don't have time. Really? Do you have another 30 minutes somewhere in the day that you could pack together where you could work out and take care of yourself? I just take all the excuses.
I get it. I'll work out. Okay.
Yeah. No, not you. No, I get a lot of people with those same excuses. Oh, I don't have time to look for a job. I don't have time to start my business. I don't know. I had somebody to tell me, Kellen, I swear to God, I had somebody tell me this. This was probably, I'm bad at dates. So it's probably about a year ago. And I was somewhere and they said, I just don't know how to cook healthy. And I just sat there and I said, I wonder where,
if
we could find a way how to cook healthy, wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah. I'm like, I know. I'm like, all you have to do is Google stuff. I've proven that. I've proven that you could Google how to get cat litter out of a bathtub. That's how extreme that I found out you can find out stuff on the internet.
You can find out anything.
Yes. I mean, it's ridiculous. People, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I've talked to people who have been in financial ruins, or financial difficulties for many, 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 many years. And I'll catch up with them a couple years later. I'm like, so how you doing? Oh my God, still stuff. I'm like, have you ever Googled how to get out of a financial mess? Have you ever gone and talked to a financial person? Have you done anything? Oh, what? Yeah, no. Well, I watched a documentary. Okay, good.
Oh my gosh. That's so true though. I mean, some of those were my excuses, so I'm not going to lie here. So.
They're all of our excuses. I did them too.
I'd be a hypocrite.
I did them too. What's that?
What is that?
Is that a ShamWow?
Is that your shopping list, Bruce? Best way to remove cat litter from the bathtub.
Oh yeah. See? Uh-huh. And the truth, I have to tell the story now because you guys are gonna think I'm weird. In my other house, when I lived by myself, I lived in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house by myself. So the extra bathroom, I was like, I love my cats, but I didn't like cat boxes. So I was like, okay, I never really used the bathtub in this thing. So I put an electronic cat box inside the bathtub. I laid plastic down and I taped the drain. I did all that stuff. And so I had an automatic cat box. So the cats just went behind the curtain, did their thing. The little cat box sweeped it up and I emptied the cartridge. Well, after living in the house for 10 years, and different cat boxes in and out, never really checking to see. I found out the tape over the years had got really hard and broke. So when we went to go move, I went and I was like, oh, there was just a ton. And if you put water on cat litter, then it's just going to. Yeah. So I was like, went and Googled it because I didn't have a wand. I mean, obviously I know to vacuum it out, but I went and Googled it and found out how to get out there.
Brilliant.
Yes. So if you guys out there have any questions, just go Google and YouTube it. Mm-hmm. You'll get the answers.
So let's go back to Clubhouse because why do you think it's such a phenomenon?
Connection.
I know, but we could call somebody, we could do a conference call. We could, it's like the party line. Is that?
Oh yeah. I was involved with those back in the 80s.
Yeah. So, but
it's true.
Is it just the right media or whatever at the right time? Like, do you think Clubhouse would have been successful before a pandemic?
You know what? That's a great question, Kellen. I believe, again, it goes back to the fakeness and everything else that's going on in the world. So on Facebook, especially before Clubhouse was really hot, you had keyboard warriors. Oh, Black lives this, or all lives, or blue lives, or president, or mm-hmm. The price of rice in China. Everybody was on keyboard. And you go out in public and nobody's got a Trump sticker and nobody's got a Biden. Nobody's out in public saying what their views are. Everybody's out here. Oops, I better not touch my keyboard. We're
not done.
Just go do this. So I think with Clubhouse, for me personally, it just getting on there and finding out people weren't assholes, that people you get in a room of, and everybody's like, okay, let's listen to these people. Let's, listen to what their issues are. Let's help them. Let's pour into them. That for me has been the connection to restoring my faith in humanity a little bit. I have this grandiose idea that the world can actually be a really super kick-ass place and we can all do our own thing and be happy and help each other and lift each other and not have to necessarily like each other, but I see the world being an amazing place. And when, I see all the divisiveness and I see people that I really, truly trust, respect, and admire. I mean, I can say that there have been a few individuals that I really would have followed to the end of the earth. And then I find out some of their I shouldn't say stupid, some of their beliefs and their comments coming out in reactions, not responses, and just seeing like, okay, where's the root core of this person really at? And losing respect for those people. And I think with Clubhouse, you can hear the authenticity in people's voices. You can tell whether you go into a room, the bigger rooms, and you can hear how they eviscerate some of the people that get up on stage. No, I only choose to be around people like yourself and, the Tony Rodriguez's and all the people out there. It restores my faith in humanity that there's a lot of us that do care about the world and everything else and care a little bit less about who you voted for or what your stance on abortion is. Can we agree on some of the bigger things in life that people should be treated and respected equally and stuff like that? So yeah, the connection part of it has just been amazing. But again, like anything else, it's new. So we'll see where those relationships and things pan out in a couple of years or months.
Agree or disagree? Clubhouse forces you to listen.
1,000%. Yes. I've heard so many people talk about how much of a better listener they are in doing that. And even for me, because I got ADD on crack, I could literally do 25 things at once. I got one earbud in here. I'm listening to a podcast over here. I'm doing this and I'm still doing Clubhouse, and it's still made me a much better listener. But what, in some situations, God's honest truth, being a good listener, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm hearing it. Okay. Really should pay attention. And then somebody like Forbes Riley, like, so Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
I've been there.
I got to pull this one out of my ass. And I've done it. I've actually, you know what? Because I've heard, certain things, and I've been a very good listener and being able to put things together. But yeah, listening, honestly, Kellen, if we could all of us, every single one of us here and everywhere else, do much better job of listening, not just hearing, not selective hearing, but actually really listening and saying, you know what, Kellen, so this is what I hear you saying. I'm hearing you say that you really find Clubhouse to be an important aspect in the connectivity of what is restoring human dynamics and trust amongst all us, in the world. Being able to paraphrase something back to somebody in such a way that they know that you heard them and that you validate what it is that they're saying and you understand their emotion and you're not critiquing them or criticizing them. You're just giving them a safe space. Let's all do that a little bit more. Let's especially do that with our kids. Like, even me, I get that. So Jackson, so what's going on? You need to talk to daddy. I'm here to listen, making eye contact and just giving my full attention, as opposed to ADD Chris. It's like, yeah, Jackson, I'm hearing, what do you want? Just if we all listen more and really empathize and understand and not judge and criticize and really seek to do what we can do in our own little part to make that person a little bit better, make them a little bit more whole. That's what I believe is going to change the world.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think one of the greatest, I know it was my friend, I think mutual friend, Mark Rodriguez.
Oh, beautiful. Love Mark.
And he said something to me. I don't remember if we were chatting or if it was on, a Clubhouse room. I was having troubles with my daughter, and he said something, and I listened. I didn't, because, when you talk about raising your daughter and, I know everything, but when I stopped and listened to what he said, it changed the entire dynamic of the argument that we were in. And all he said was, Kellen, he goes, you know that she won't tell me what's wrong. He says, she knows what's wrong. She's afraid of your reaction. So you need to let her know that you will love her no matter what. And it's so simple, but if it would have been before the listening era, I probably would have just missed it. And, there's so many, I know they call them gems and gold and blah, 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 but there's nuggets. I always think of chicken when they say nuggets. I'm like, no,
I think it's something else.
Yeah. Oh,
don't listen to the Kevin Hart book, his new one. Don't listen to it because he talks about nuggets. And that's why I think about it that way.
Okay.
Kevin Hart's awesome.
So, but I'm just saying because I'm just like you, I have two types of ADHD, ADD, ADHD, and it's very hard for me to focus. But when I'm in the audience, I can't talk. So I'm forced to listen. Sometimes I'll stay in the audience, especially if it's a topic that I'm really interested in, and I don't want to distract myself by trying to think of something to say. I just, stay in the audience now because I'm like, this is a learning time. And so, okay, we're missing a couple. Oh shoot, my daughter's calling.
Let's answer it.
No,
Here, let me answer it.
No.
Hello.
We've missed a couple of comments. Michelle said, thank you, Christopher. So
you are most welcome. Thank you, Michelle.
And then Phil, he says, when I care more about outcomes of the coaches, it's time for us to move on. Yeah, I agree. And then, Michelle says, sounds familiar. Bah. Yeah, she knows me. She's like one of my besties that I met during the pandemic. And she's just, it's nuggets for me too, Christopher. Okay.
Dropping nuggets. I just hear Kevin Hart's voice.
Now, I would send him to the audience.
No, but I know what you're saying. I've gone into rooms and I immediately, depending on the room I go into now, I have to be careful because I know that they'll just like, oh, Chris, you want to be a speaker? And normally I would just click yes, because I didn't want them to feel like, no, I don't want to be a speaker in your room. But lately I actually have, because I'm like, okay, I have 20 minutes. I could go on and I don't want to be rude and say something and then feel like I have to stay. Because sometimes I've done that too. It's like I go into a room, they ping me as a speaker, they make me a moderator, and I've got 20 minutes and I'm like, okay, shit down this. I don't want to like be disrespectful. So then I'm like doing two things at once. So I actually recently, twice yesterday, I declined to be a speaker and I just listened like, I was like, oh my God, this is easier. I don't have to sit there and I can listen. If I can't listen for a minute, then so yes.
Yeah, because I have it on in the background when I'm working because, every now and then there's some really good stuff going on in there. And so what would be your advice do you use it for your business, or some people use it business, some people use it for social? What do you use it for? I know business, but do you have any social aspect of it?
You know what? Honestly, I need to dig into it a little bit better from the social aspect of it. I was not going to get involved in Clubhouse. I was like, I'm involved in a WhatsApp group that is international, that's all texting. And I was like trying to keep up with that. I was re-energized myself to focus on my Instagram. And then I had somebody else didn't want to do an interview with me because my Twitter numbers weren't high. And I'm like, I don't even do Twitter. I'm not a Twitter guy. I have a Twitter account, but so I started focusing on that. And then I had 2 people ping me like, dude, you need to be on Clubhouse. I'm like, I don't need another thing. I don't need another thing. I'm writing a book. I'm doing courses. I'm coaching. I have a son. And then like a couple of days later, 2 other people like, Chris, you need to be on this. And so going on there, it was just so amazing just to connect and just hear people. I probably wouldn't have stayed on there if I heard, the bigger rooms where they eviscerate people, but hearing some of those rooms, I'm like, oh my God, nobody's selling, nobody's saying, hey, by the way, everybody's just like, and then you go click on their Instagram profile and they have, 1 million followers or 100,000 followers. And you're like, you don't even need to be doing this. You have all the money. And I was just like, oh my God, these are awesome people. And that's what it's become. It's become a connection point. I look at things this way. I look at everything as a connection, Kellen. And if it turns into business, great. If it turns into a coaching relationship, all my coaching clients pretty much become best friends. Or if it becomes a social aspect, I love music. I'm going to get into some music rooms and stuff like that. Maybe try a stand-up room and like go in and do stand-up. I don't know. There's so many different opportunities to play with right now. I'm just loving on it. And quite honestly, I need to be doing more with it, but I'm very careful about how I balance myself in my life because I tend to go pouring into lots of people and I got to back that off. But yeah, it's just been absolutely amazing. What's been one of the best rooms you've been in?
Wow, there are a lot. I've got this group. I'm learning to use it socially, and I've met this tribe. It's called Tell Me Something Good, and you can go in there every day, every night, and no work, no business. All we do is talk about something good. One night we had a debate on pancakes or waffles.
Nice.
And then Wednesday we have a section called Robbie Reads, and he takes old Cosmo articles from the sex advice articles, and then he reads them in like a sultry voice, and it's hilarious. And it's goofy fun. So that's probably my favorite social one. My business one, God, I've been in a couple of rooms with Forbes. She's an amazing lady.
Damn, she does not nail it or what?
I know. And you know what? If she's in a big room, I'll follow her in, or you in, or Mo. But I don't normally go into the 10 times rooms or because I'm kind of self-motivated out, and I'm just kind of looking for little tips, little like things that I can tweak and make my own, and just make my business stronger. So there's probably not one room that is a favorite because I grab just little bits from each of them that I go in.
So what would be the perfect room? If Christopher Rausch was going to create the perfect room, what would that room be?
Well, it would have me in it.
Absolutely. 100%.
So when I first started this show, it was a Zoom call during the beginning of the pandemic. And I said, let's help each other. So every day I watched Jeffrey Gitomer go live, and I'd see who was live, and I'd connect. I'd call one new person every day. And then we created this Zoom room on Tuesdays where we could just talk and help each other. And I would like something similar to that, where we're all just here to support each other, to give ideas, and then have a little fun, because that in turn ended up into a mastermind megamind group that I belong to. And I swear these are 25 I've never connected so quickly and emotionally to so many people at one time, but they're all genuine, and we're from all different careers, and we live all over the country and Canada. And it's where people can come to connect and, and just share.
And just be.
That was a long answer, wasn't it?
No, I got every bit of it. I mean, actually, because I've created 2 rooms myself. It's so funny because normally I would have been all over this, but I've just been taking my time and just enjoying the process. But that's why I wanted to ask you that, because I've been trying to determine, like, okay, I've been watching and being a voyeur and like, okay, what kind of room can I do that'll be different? I've been working with titles and just trying to make it exactly that, because I tell people, when people say, who are you, Chris? I'm like, well, just imagine George Carlin and Tony Robbins in an AC/DC concert. That is me. And I came up with that years and years ago, because I'm like, I'm totally George Carlin, I'm totally Tony Robbins, and I'm mad about music and I love AC/DC and rock and roll. So that's kind of what you get. So I want to create some sort of room like that there's that vibe and that energy where we can be bone serious and talking about, overcoming, sex trafficking. And then we can, like boost it up and for the next 10 minutes, let's talk about songs with the word rainbow in it. Who could come up with songs with the word rainbow in it and just start singing, get the whole room to sing, Over the Rainbow or something like that.
That's awesome. That's similar to, I applied for a club, and it's called Ignite Your Wow. And then there's a little line space, and it's just kind of like my talk show. I have somebody different every week. And like this week, you can ask a cop any question you've ever wanted to ask them. Then the week before I did, and I just pick any topic. Like I'm going to have you in my room once. And I think
twice, 3 times leading.
Then I come up with a different topic for each week, each week. And I revolve the topic around who I'm going to talk to. So if I have, let's see, I have Mark in there. He's on this journey right now. So, and I think he's at the beginning of it. And I would call it, and then I just call it something like the journey, or the destination, not the journey, or, I'd come up with some kind of quick thing that, epitomizes that person. And that's worked pretty well.
Nice. Look at you go.
Know,
See,
right?
you're like, I don't want to ask Chris to be on my show, but I've already applied for a club and I'm already doing this and I'm already doing that. Hey, give yourself a hand. Seriously. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I like it because it's just like this. It is, you're bringing people together. And, Steve Rizzo is a friend of mine, and I'm helping him start some club rooms. He's doing this motivational thing with humor, but he's talking about stories of his friends, like Rodney Dangerfield was last week. This week, I think, is Eddie Murphy. But he's sharing stories about these amazing comedians and lessons, and then throwing motivation in there. But I'll be letting that butterfly free soon, and he'll be, but I'm just I like to help people and, get them. And then I try to ping people in, because people actually like come into my rooms now. So that's really exciting for me.
See, you're a beautiful person. Stop. I mean, yeah.
Well, and then like Mo came in one time, and then he brought like 15 people followed him in. And it's just, it's fun because there's some really great messages out there. And if I can facilitate them, that's what I'm here to do.
You are a beautiful person for doing that. You are a beautiful person. So keep that shit up. Thank you.
I will.
Yes.
Okay. So we're over our half hour, but I don't care because it's my show.
Keep on going. We go for 2 hours. I don't care.
Okay, cool.
I'm good.
Oh, wait, Lynn missed that one, I think. How many shows and kinds of shows do you do, Christopher?
Yeah. Well, I do 2 weekly shows, Raw and Unscripted, then the Unfiltered Experience. And then I do my other show, Rainbows in Real Life, every other week on Thursday nights. Actually, we have a show. What's today? Tuesday. I have my show tonight. Oh, look at him going to my YouTube page.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You're an awesome producer. So yes, we have the Raw and Unscripted show up there. We have my Walk and Talks. We have the Unfiltered Experience. The Friday Night Live to the right. That was our show before we became the Unfiltered Experience. So that one involves a lot of drinking and fun, but actually it's a lot of serious subjects as well. I just have a lot.
That one. I like drinking.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't drinking until this birthday weekend. Then I drank, and yeah.
That was so fun being I was at your birthday party.
Yes, you were. Thank you. See, you're showing up. That's what it's about. Ladies and gentlemen, guys out there, just show up. Show up. Michelle says she's got to get her clubhouse game up. Let's do it. I need to do it too. So
I'll do a room with her. We should all do a room together.
Let's do it.
Okay, Michelle, we're doing a room this week. I'm not sure.
We're doing a room, Michelle. We're doing a room.
Warning.
Hey, you said I could be.
Following has explicit material.
You better close your ears, baby. Actually, I'm going to see. Speaking of that voice, Craig Shoemaker. You know Craig Shoemaker, the comedian.
Yeah.
The love master. I'm going to see him Saturday night. We're doing there's a small golf club thing outside where we're doing, and so we get to love master, baby.
So Michelle, are we going to do double D's? Those are Those are a drink we had. The Megamind group I told you about, as many of us as could, we met in Kansas City in October. And Eric Bam, our fearless leader, kept ordering Michelle and I double D's. It's a drink. Oh, yeah. That was interesting.
That's good times right there.
I have a story I can tell you off camera. I got in trouble.
Teresa's like, we all have to stick together. Hey,
yes,
I could tell you a story right now on camera. I was at a convention many years ago before I met my wife, and I got busted in a jacuzzi. I'll just tell you that much.
Oh boy.
Yeah, in front of a lot of people I was at the convention with.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
They'll remember you though.
Yeah. The next day walking around the convention like, hey, what's up? You're that? Yep, I am. Shut up. I'm stupid. I know. It was fun.
No publicity. Wait, bad publicity is better than no publicity.
It made the next night even interesting too. It was crazy.
Great.
That's why I just say, don't be embarrassed. Go have a good time. I'm not going to do it now. I'm a married man with a kid, but hey,
yeah,
if the freak flag's flying, then wave it. Boom.
Oh my God, you've been so much fun.
No, I reason why I say that, I had a coaching client last year who was approaching 70 and hired me and said she wanted to learn. She saw me and she was like, I want to be more like you. I want to be just who I am. I've been this and I've done this. And so one of those things was kind of about, sex and stuff. And I was like, fly your freak flag, whatever it is, there's going to be somebody out there. I don't care if he's 78 years old, give him a blue pill and you're good to go, whatever.
Go for it.
Have fun.
Michelle would like to know more.
More about what?
I think the hot tub.
Oh, well, yeah.
She's been stalking you too.
Has she? Well, I saw something about that.
It's up farther. She goes,
oh, thank you. Yes, I have found out, honestly, a side note, because I never really knew my demographics, like who followed me. Everybody seems to think I'm a guy's guy, but I've always had all women friends. I love women. Not that I don't like guys, but I found out when I started studying my demographics recently that 80% of my fan base are women between the ages of 35 and 65, something like that. So I'm like, yes, bring it on.
And that's funny because my Candidly Speaking with Shell and Kel show, we thought our demographic was women like 35 to 60, men.
That's what we talked about. Yeah, we did talk about this.
Yeah, it's I don't know why, but that's okay.
Well, we're learning. That's another good thing about Clubhouse is you can go into. I did this. I got pinged into this room. This is interesting. I don't know if I told you this, but I got pinged. I have some sort of rapper dude following me, and I can't remember his name. I apologize. I don't think he's watching. And he pinged me into this room, and if somebody pings me, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me jump in there. I don't go look and see how many people are in there. So I will go into this room, and there's like probably about 9 people, all African-American. I show up there, boom, white guy with a bandana, and like, what's this? Again, the same thing. I show up in there. He's like, oh, yo, Chris is here, blah, blah. And so he was all excited, and he asked me some questions, which was really cool. But then I just stayed quiet. And the interesting part about that is the conversation that ensued. I learned so much from hearing them talk amongst themselves about issues and things that they've had happen that it was priceless for me to be a part of that conversation. I still get I get chills because I felt bad. I felt like saying, if you guys want me to leave while you're talking about this, because I'm the only white guy in this room and they're talking. But I said, I said afterwards, I said, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of that. I said, I've learned some insights on that I can go share with other people as well. So thank you for sharing that and allowing me in the room. So, yeah.
Well, have you noticed that people will like spill their guts to strangers more quickly in Clubhouse than they would to their family?
Oh yeah.
I've been in some rooms where there's been miraculous things happening, and I don't want to sound too floofy, but it's like real shit is being done in there. Good shit.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. My wife would probably slap me silly. She's like, I'm so tired of hearing me talk about it. My buddy Scott's still not even on it. He's on it, but I finally got him on it, but he still hasn't gone in it. I'm like, oh my God.
Maybe we should have gotten Michelle on the show with us.
Yeah.
In our room.
Yeah. I got him into a room, but then he didn't say anything and then he left. But yeah, we'll worry about those people. I'll worry about that. So yeah, we got to get Teresa on there too. Come on, Teresa.
She's on my Candidly Speaking show on the 10th. So
yeah.
That. Okay. Advice for Clubhouse people. How do you leave quietly? Like, do you think we overthink it and we think, oh, they're being rude because we're leaving? Or does anybody care?
Yeah, that's a good question. Depending on the room size and everything else, for the most part, if I'm a moderator and I've been there for a while, I will try to find a space to say, hey, listen, guys, I got to bounce out. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it. In other situations, I have like looked at the leave quietly thing, but I'm at the top and I feel bad. Like I'm just like, especially if I've only been there for a little bit and leaving quietly, but that's why the leaving quietly button is there. But also what I've done is if I know, like if I was in a room with you and like, oh, hey, I got to bounce, I just text you and say, hey, I got to bounce, and then I leave quietly or something like that, or say I'll be back. But yeah, I love that feature. Well, except for when you show up in a room when there's two people and you go sliding in there and you're like, oh, I don't want to be in a room with two people. And you're like, okay, do I leave quietly or do I stay here and see if I can help them get the room bigger? I've done that too.
Yeah, that would be of service.
Yes.
Sometimes if I'm a speaker, I'll move down to the audience. I'll put myself back in the audience and then wait a few minutes and then leave quietly.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Yeah.
That's a smart idea. Nice.
So, okay. Well, I could probably talk to you for days. So, but people do have to get to work and you probably have some things you have to take care of today as well. But I have one final question for you.
I'm good.
Guest.
One final question.
Oh, I thought you were just intensely listening to me.
No, my screen froze for a second.
Okay.
But I was intently listening because I can still hear you.
So the question I ask everybody is, how do you define wow?
How do I define wow? Wow catches you off guard. I like wow because it's immediate. It's exciting. It can be either positive or constructive. I usually try not to say the word negative, but wow is fun. Wow is adjusting. Wow is insights. Wow is like a trigger, like you were just saying, personal development out, motivated out. But for me, the wow is even for me listening to something and have somebody say it in such a way, it's like, wow, okay. Because that becomes a click, that becomes energy, and that becomes reinforced mindset belief. So I like wows.
Wows. My chair squeaked. I didn't fart. That was my chair squeaking.
I know. How do you define wow?
I find it as my passion that creates a reaction.
Passion that creates a reaction. Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
Bam. Well, thank you, Christopher. You're always a pleasure, and I enjoy you, and I'm going to keep watching you. And I think everybody who's here watching should watch your shows because they're great. They really are. And you do impact a lot of people in a positive way. And I just love the fact that it's like you're serving everything you do, you're servant. And I love that.
Yes. Well, thank you. Allow me to serve one more time, just for the sake of this. I don't do this normally, but for everybody being here and for you, if anybody here, Michelle or anybody else would like a coaching strategy call with me, no obligation, no sales, no nothing, just a way for me to pay it forward for your listeners, I would be happy to offer that. So they could just reach out to me privately. And there's been one person on here who's already done that. So yeah, it's so that's my offer. Well, he did it before this, but
on that offer, you're not smart.
Yeah,
because even though you think you don't need coaching, there's always something that you can learn. So
we do.
For being here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're watching this on the replay, please let me know. And I hope everybody has a great day, and make sure to ignite your wow.
Thank you, Kellen. Love you.